I think that before we really continue into this show, it's important for us to ask ourselves a couple questions along the way, right? And I think that one of the things that's preventing people from truly becoming the best version of themselves, and another reason why they continue to try to sell me on the idea that $47,000 a year for a black man is okay, and that you can raise a family on $47,000 a year. I say you can't even really survive with a family of four and then prepare yourself for your retirement or for you not to be living under duress if you make $100,000 a year consistently. Now, that's not even including the ups and the downs and the layoffs and all of this other type of stuff. But I often say that you can't even really thrive or survive making $100,000 a year because after taxes, you're sitting on about $67,000 a year on average. On average, that is a fact. Look it up. On average, you're sitting somewhere between $67,000 and $70,000 a year if you get you a six-figure man. He not retiring you, baby. You need to go and get a job too so that y'all can combine incomes. And then hopefully y'all can create an environment where you can afford at least one child, or maybe you don't even need no children at all because you still culturally hit. You still a nuisance on what it is that we got going on in our culture. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. I appreciate y'all. But I think that one of the things that's preventing us from really, really being able to grow is that you've never experienced it. You don't know what it's like to ride first class. You don't know what it's like to have stitched leather with the red guts in the inside. You don't know what it's like to have a driver. You've never been on the other side. You've never even traveled outside of your city. You don't know what it feels like to get a paycheck that's 5 figures, let alone 6 figures. You've never seen $1 million in real life. And so you have nothing to work towards because all of the people that is in your environment, shout out to Sean, I'm reading your super chat shortly. All of the people that's in your environment are broke. And so you think you're doing good because you got a C or you got a B, you got to be average, but you're never getting into an Ivy League school. You're never getting into the University of Michigan. You're never getting into the best universities. You're never going to be at the top of your field because you don't even know what to strive for. You don't have anything to reverse engineer and then create a milestone for yourself so that you can actually be the best version of yourself, because the people that you're comparing yourself to are those that are in your environment. And so one of the channels that I love a lot, is a channel in which they go to different cities and they stop random people on the street and they ask them, what do they do for a living and how much money do they make? And so I want to share one of the things that's a part of my algorithm with you guys so that we can really mine out and have a conversation on what people are really going through, what they make, and how it is that they're operating within their regular lives that allow for them to be able to live these phenomenal lives that you, because you continue to run in the Victim Olympics, refuse to be a part of. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it in, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Hannah Williams from Salary Transparent Street. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go ask some people what they do and how much they make.
I am a cloud engineer.
I am a cloud engineer.
How much do you make doing what you do?
120K.
120K a year.
Let's back up. You know what? I want to do this a little bit differently. I think we need to show this on the big screen. I don't want to show it on a little screen. I want to show it on a big screen. Let me see if I can get this up on a big screen just really quickly for y'all. I got some phenomenal software that I use to do my live stream, so let's do it.
This is Hannah Williams from Salary Transparent Street. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go ask some people what they do and how much they make.
I am a cloud engineer.
I am a cloud engineer.
How much do you make doing what you do?
120K.
120K a year.
And how many years of experience do you have total versus industry?
So listen to this. Let's pay attention to this, y'all. Let's mine this out. We have a couple here. Both of them are cloud engineers. This is in Atlanta, Georgia. They have a child. Both of them make $120,000 a year, which is the equivalent of close to $250,000 a year. This is the new standard. This is the new norm of how it is that you're going to be operating when it comes to being strategic and winning as a family. Just because you make 6 figures don't mean that your chick can't work. I know plenty of them from other cultures, especially Indian cultures, where they make over $200,000 a year. And the women are not working. The women are also getting that same amount of money that the man is getting. Where do we get to where a woman has to not work? So you telling me you got you a 25, 26, 27-year-old woman, and the only thing that she do is breathe in the morning? She ain't even got no reason to wake up for an alarm clock?
I've got 7.
I started in 2017, so I'm approaching 6 years.
How did you get into it? Like, what helped you?
Necessity. I did it when I was in college, and it just kind of evolved, and here I am.
Yeah, learning more about it from him showed me that I was capable of doing it, and it would be less stressful than what I was doing.
Any advice you would have for
Learning from your husband. He is clearly the leader of his family. She said, listen, I was paying attention to what he was doing, and it gave me the battery in my back to be able to do what I got to do.
others interested in this?
Go for it. I work from home.
How did you get remote work? Was it like included? Was it difficult?
It started with COVID. They just said, keep going.
Yeah, it also morphed for me, so I'm working from home as well. And the pandemic helped with that, so people can see with cloud engineering, it's not necessary to come into the office.
I work with my temple, helping out kids and teachers.
How much do you make?
$8 an hour.
How old are you?
14.
I like walk dogs sometimes, and I'll also like help my neighbors with things that they need to do.
How much do you make? Like weekly basis?
I think like maybe $10 a week.
I babysit. I like get $15 an hour usually.
She's killing it. Do you guys feel like you're too young to be working? Are you excited about work?
I'm excited about work. I don't feel I'm too young. I work it through my schedule so I can balance doing track, school, and like hanging out with my friends.
I like keeping myself busy. I just like it. I think it's going to help me in the future.
More money.
More money. I love it. Do you guys know what your parents do and how much they make?
My mom helps people write college essays and pick which college they want to go to.
Do you know how much she makes doing that?
I do not know how much she makes, but she works student by student, which is really cool.
Our mom's a comedian.
And our dad's a lawyer.
Do you know how much they make? A comedian. That's so fun.
We don't really know.
Our mom is a comedian, and our dad's a lawyer. Sound like she trying to find her footing, and he over there supporting the family.
They said you are a comedian.
Yes, I do stand-up.
Amazing stand-up. How has that been working for you?
Sometimes you get paid $10 and a slice of pizza. Also, I do comedy for private events, and I'm Jewish, so I'll do comedy for like fundraisers and stuff.
How do you like what you do?
I mean, I do it because I love it. I wasn't always a stand-up comedian. I used to work at a very long time ago, Cartoon Network and for Adult Swim. I left right after they were born. And I consulted for a while, and I've made everything from $85 an hour as a consultant to $10 for performing for 20 minutes.
What was the best job out of all those?
I have to say, I really enjoy performing. I love being on stage. Stage is my
Sound like her husband is the one that actually makes all of the money, to be honest with you.
comfort zone.
So you're happy where you are?
You know, I feel like every year I'm like, what are my goals?
Yeah.
And I often compare myself to other comedians and what they're doing. And I'm also a mom. I've got 3 kids. So some days comedy wins. Most of the time family does.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to take me longer to get to where I want to go because
You can forget it, ma'am. You can forget it. If you're not just doing it as a hobby, you could just go ahead and forget it and let that dream go.
I definitely don't get out as much as some other comedians who they're performing. So I run my own shows also to kind of balance that out. And I do a podcast. I create my own content just to have that creative outlet. So I feel like the people who are successful are the people who take control for what they do, right? So if you're waiting for someone to give you that job, whether it's in the creative industry or whatever industry, I don't like depending on other people to make things happen. So I try and just do it myself.
I'm an athletic trainer and events coordinator.
How much do you make?
Roughly about $130,000 a year.
He is an athletic trainer and an events coordinator, and he makes $130,000 a year. I am not familiar with this industry, events coordination, and it sounds like he does athletic training on the side, and then he does events coordinating, or maybe it's just 2 hustles. I don't know.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing event management for about 9.5 years, and I've been an athletic trainer for about 4 years.
When did athletic training come around?
I worked in healthcare prior to becoming an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is the way to go. I saw my first salary within half a year becoming an entrepreneur, but it's just doing the work and doing the research. You know, the money is out there. You just got to get out there and find it because money is out here.
I manage a pop-up market, and I also sell vintage online.
How much?
Sounds like she broke. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not seen this video ahead of time. I'm looking at it in real time just like y'all. This sounds like she's broke. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Do you make?
And we got to take into consideration. Okay. So she worked for somebody else. So she might not be broke if she worked for somebody else. But we got to take into consideration. We don't know how true. So we just taking these people word for it. But we don't know how true a lot of this is.
Employer, I'd say I make like $1,200 a month through myself, also $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
It just a start out business, so not too much.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been selling vintage for like 2 years now.
Do you like what you do?
Oh, I love it.
Look like she got that Coogee. That Coogee sweater is fire though. That Coogee sweater is fire. I'm about to start getting me some Coogee sweaters. As soon as the weather turn back again, I'm gonna start getting my Coogee sweaters on.
How'd you get involved in your small business?
My Nana is a style icon. She like truly inspired me.
Jesus
And then like ever
Christ.
since I was little, I've always thrifted, even though my family didn't. So just from like my Nana's inspiration and also just thrifting secondhand and trying to save the environment.
Ain't a Nana like a mother or grandmother or something like that? A Nana is the grandmother, right? How ghetto.
It's got me into vintage clothing.
What's the name of your small business?
My business is Shake Vintage Boutique.
I'm a pharmacist.
What about you?
A pharmacist as well.
Do y'all see how the successful people are moving though? And it's not just white people or Asian people. It was some black people. The very first people that was on this show were black people. But do y'all see how they moving? A lot of times, and this is why I tell y'all all the time, that you have to throw away the narrative of what's being communicated on YouTube or social media or Clubhouse or whatever of how people are operating within their environment as far as their marriages and things like that, because it's a lot of people that's successful. And when I tell you that women work. The goal is not to retire a woman. The goal is for her to find her purpose. So some women may work for you. Some women may be mothers, and that's work because the child is not old enough to go to school full time. Some people may work in a regular job. But if you notice, a lot of these people are in the same industries. It's similar to what you going to school or you going to work or whatever like that. A lot of time, these people often at times do the same thing. They do the same thing. Sometimes they work at the same job and they make sure that they leverage what somebody else knows in order to. If you can't even help your own spouse become successful so that you can double your income and your salary, what worth are you?
How much do you make?
About like 100K, 110 a year, probably in that area.
Same amount, yes.
How long have you been doing it?
Under like 2 years, a year and a half, probably.
I just graduated in May, so a couple months, yeah.
They got that student loan debt is on fire, I bet you.
We're from Texas, so
Do you recommend it?
probably not right now because it's so oversaturated right now.
Saturated.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going into the field. Even like when we were starting, we were like one of the last year, like, oh, you better get in while you can. But I mean, I guess with how like the pandemic has changed things, like there'll always be a job at the end of the day. Like if you don't mind working like retail pharmacy, I know they're always going to be like hiring and things of that sort.
We're actually in different fields of pharmacy, so he's hospital and I'm more retail.
I hear hospital is better than retail is what I've been hearing.
A little bit, yeah.
Workflows wise, they'll get paid more because they're usually by themselves as retail pharmacists.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So it just depends, I guess, place to place, really.
They're giving all of the sauce. This also bucks the narrative, ladies and gentlemen, that people that have resources are not nice enough to actually tell you the truth or give you the sauce on. It's such a myth that people that make money or they meaner or people that start to get richer. I believe that the more money you make, the nicer you get. The mean people are at the bottom. The mean people are not at the top. It's just the people at the top is not willing to deal with the mean people at the bottom in order to be able to give you the sauce and the game on how it is that you can be successful. The higher you get, the more money you make, the nicer you are. It's just the less that they have time for the foolishness. That's the difference.
Legal assistant. I work for a commercial real estate company.
How long have you been doing it?
About 2 years.
How'd you get into it?
Just actually through Indeed. Oh, just applying, yeah.
They're sponsoring us. How was your experience using Indeed?
It's been great, actually. I really recommend it.
Do you like what you do?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for others who might be interested?
Just stay consistent, even when the work can seem overwhelming. Just push through. It's worth it, and it's necessary.
How much do you make?
I make $55,000 a year.
Do you feel fairly compensated?
So this woman is a legal assistant, and she makes $55,000 a year. And y'all gonna sit here and tell me that $47,000 a year as a man, as a black man on average, making $47,000 a year is enough? She's a legal assistant and she makes $55,000 a year. Come on, man. Then y'all gonna tell her she need to lower her standards too, right? I know.
Living in Atlanta is high, and I live in this area. It's a great area, but it's a very expensive area. Gentrification is real, and prices keep rising, so I think pay should keep rising, but that doesn't seem to be happening.
I'm a consultant. A consultant accelerates.
So he get the bag. I can tell you right now that he get the bag. If I had to predict his salary, I'm going to say that he probably makes over $170,000 a year at least. If he's working for himself as a consultant, then he makes over 170. If he's working for somebody else as a consultant, then he probably makes slightly between $100,000 and $120,000 a year. Consultants get the bag because consultants really eat what they kill, and it's important for them to be able to sell in order to maintain a contract. So they have to have a great relationship with whoever it is that they're doing business with, especially if you're a corporate consultant. So I would say that he's well over six figures if I had to guess.
Projects and get things done.
Do you like what you do?
I love what I do.
How long have you been doing it?
11 years.
How'd you get into it?
I just fell into it, honestly. I heard good things about it and just applied and got it.
What's your educational background?
I have an undergrad in economics and I also have an MBA.
Nice.
How much do you make?
It ranges anywhere between 200 to 400,000.
I'll keep trying to tell y'all. I underpriced. I thought that he was going to say 170, 175. He said between 2 and 4. But that's not out of the norm. A lot of people don't understand that consulting is really sales. Okay? Let me break this down again. Consulting is really sales. When you get to a certain level and when you get into a certain industry, realistically, you're just building relationships in order to continue to keep contracts. But often at times, you're often incentivized by your employer or by whomever it is that you're consulting for in order to continue to drive value. But they're worth their weight in salt because often at times they either A, save the company a bunch of money, or B, they add a bunch of value. So when people say stuff like, I don't understand how people make that much money, I don't understand how people do this or do that, it's because of the value that we bring to the organizations that we work for. So for example, if somebody brings me in, right, and they say, Anton, and I'm going to tell you why I was able to name my own salary. When they say, Anton, I need you to join this organization, you can create whatever position that you want and so on and so forth. That person has already worked for me, and they also understand the value that I'm going to bring, whether it's to the customers, whether it's additional revenue. So if I drive an additional, let's just say 10 million, 20 million, 30 million in revenue, or I save the company that much, what do they care whether or not they giving me bonuses, in which your bonuses is often tied to your performance? So when you see CEO pay, and people are complaining about CEO pay, what they're really complaining about is that they can't actually truly get to that bag, because CEO pay often at times is tied to the performance of the stock or the performance of the company. So if you hit sales targets or you hit stock prices, everybody is winning. The shareholders are winning. The chairman is winning. The board of directors are winning. The employees are winning. And if everybody is winning, then your compensation is going to be tied to the performance of the company. Now, if the performance of the company is trash, then that also means that you won't get as much compensation from your performance as you thought that you would, right? And so executive pay is often at times tied to the performance of the company, which is why they make so much money, because they've earned it. When you talk about somebody like, I'm going to go back in the day for those of y'all that truly don't understand. I'm not going to use a recent example. I'm going to use an older example. Alan Mulally, right? Alan Mulally was a former Boeing executive that then steered Ford Motor Company through the recession, in which they were the only American automakers, them and Tesla, was the only American automakers that didn't take the bailout. Chrysler took the bailout. General Motors took the bailout. Institutional investors got washed. Everybody lost a lot of money. They had to reissue the stock, so on and so forth, right? Because they had to reorganize their debt. Alan Mulally made hundreds of millions of dollars. And then people will say, oh, Ford ain't even doing it. No, Ford thrived and survived, and then he actually leveraged the Blue Oval and the name of the Blue Oval, and he mortgaged the company basically in order to be able to survive through the recession, which ultimately did yield great results, and Ford came out of it very, very strong as a company. And then he was able to increase the stock price from before he got there and fix all of the problems from the CEO and the corporate structure, right? He eliminated a lot of the dealerships. I'm not going to go into it, right? I'm not going to break it down. Maybe I'll do it for the Patreon members. But my point is that when people like this are able to drive value, you're able to name your price. But the first thing you have to understand is sales. You got to understand culture. And you need to understand how to add value into the company. When you solve a problem, the people that solve a problem and the people that are in sales, they make the most money. Trust me. Let's continue.
Why does it range?
It's based on performance and utilization. So if you have a good year, your bonus can be almost twice.
What did I just say? What did I just say? I literally just broke this down for you before he even said anything. I just told you. Man, y'all got to get out of y'all comfort zone. Black people, bag chasers, if y'all don't get out of y'all comfort zone and start to go into fields and industries that drive value and learn how to solve a problem and add more value, instead of standing on the side of the road, protesting for $16, $17, $18 an hour, talking about diversity, inclusion, and equity, you are going to be left behind in this economy. We don't care anything about that anymore.
Salary. It can get pretty gnarly sometimes, but overall it's been great.
Gnarly as in, what are the pros and cons?
Long hours, tough clients, and very short deadlines.
Long hours, tough clients, short deadlines. It ain't no victim Olympics in here. They don't care about what you think. You need to drive the value, and we will reward you accordingly.
Those are the cons. And the pros are working with smart people, learning new skills, and just doing something impactful. The advice for people who want to get into consulting and want to grow is I recommend definitely learning a lot, and don't be afraid to jump ship, because that's how you get more money. That's how you elevate yourself. Don't be afraid to jump.
I'm a stock.
And I say it all the time. They will pay you more to leave, but you need to get uncomfortable.
Representative.
How much do you make?
I think my salary is about $60,000.
Do you feel well paid for what you do?
The stress level and the kind of customers we have, I feel like we can get paid more, but there's a lot of opportunities for overtime. So I think once you get licensed, because I work in finance, you have to get your FINRA licenses. Once you get licensed, you get, I guess, better calls because you're more experienced and you know what you're doing. But when you're not that experienced in the field, it can be stressful because it's still a learning curve and you have to learn a lot.
How long have you been doing it?
For about a year and a half.
Do you like what you do?
Let me just say I'm a creative, so I'm an artist, but I do work in corporate, so it's definitely a growth thing. So I love the fact that I'm learning something new.
What's your educational background to get into this?
Majored in marketing, so my job's actually in finance, which is a little bit different from marketing, but it's still business centered. So
any tips or advice?
Well, I had customer service experience, so I think that was like a big thing that helps in a lot of job sectors. So I guess what I did in my other job and how I managed situations, and that kind of made my now manager want to hire me.
I'm currently unemployed and
what a surprise. The wildest, hair looks the craziest. What did I tell y'all before we started this? What did I tell y'all on how to solve for making yourself valuable? Maybe it's just a mother. I don't know. Maybe she a mother, because I do see it say stay at home with the kids. So let me not prejudge. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be objective. Let me hear the whole story.
staying at home with my kids. So I'm entrepreneurship or starve right now.
Did you have a job before you became a stay-at-home mom? What did you do before?
I was still a stay-at-home mom, but I was working from home as well. So I was doing double alternative lifestyle.
Sound like you're a single mother. I wish I was the person that's... Let me text Rita. Tell her to get me a microphone so I can go on the street to start talking to these people so that I could... I'm going to ask the right questions. So do you got a husband at home, or why are you doing what is double alternative lifestyle?
How much were you making?
This year I had been raised to about
How much were you making?
$54K. I was promoted to operations business manager at the beginning of 2022.
Why did you leave?
I didn't leave. I was let go. Unclear about the exact terms of why I was let go.
You know.
Boo. But I just was like, I don't want to rush into another job, and I don't want to rush into the next entrepreneurial thing that I want to do. And I just wanted to stay at home with my kids and catch a break for a second.
How has that been going for you?
It's been up and down. Like some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to make some more income. I need to get it coming in, because I was actually denied unemployment, so I'm appealing that.
Let me Now, if you let somebody talk long enough, you let somebody talk about themselves long enough, they'll start to actually tell you the truth. So, for those of you that are not familiar, unemployment insurance, which is usually done through the UIA, it's very easy to get, right? And it's easy to get, especially if you've actually been laid off. Now, it's a difference between being laid off and being fired, because for those of you that have never employed anybody, we pay into the unemployment insurance on behalf of our employees, right? And when somebody is laid off, the idea is that they are able to float, or they're supposed to have some level of income as a result of being let go due to no fault of their own. Let me say that again. due to no fault of their own. I'm about to start reading the super chat shortly. No fault of their own. That means that they will not deny you. They're going to automatically approve you, and your employer is not going to fight you getting insurance or unemployment insurance or your unemployment pay, right? If they laid you off. It's not any problem. Now, if you sit here and you say to me, well, they actually denied it, that means either one of two things happened, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you the game. Either you got fired for something that you wasn't supposed to be doing. Either you got fired for something that you wasn't supposed to be doing, and the body language says it all. Or you decided to quit your job and going into being an entrepreneur. It didn't work out the way that you thought it was going to be because you was listening to your homegirls, and now they denied your unemployment insurance when you tried to apply for it. It's the only two reasons why you will be denied unemployment insurance. Either you got fired for doing something that you wasn't supposed to do, and it's a difference between being fired and laid off, because laid off is the company is reducing headcount, they got to save costs, there's nothing they can do about it, so on and so forth, versus actually quitting your job and going into being an entrepreneur. So everybody that sit there and tell y'all, oh man, you got to start your own business. Okay, you see her over here struggling. Everybody ain't built like that. But I'm glad that these people are being asked these questions and they being honest.
Yeah, big stuff. But just watching your channel has just given me a lot of inspiration. Okay, I should be making around this much for what I do and for the area that I live in. It forced me to go digging a little deep about stuff in my.
When it gets warm outside, I'm gonna hit the streets, y'all. Sean says, I'm over all this diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff, man. Always trying to make me participate in some work meeting about being black in tech. I don't know what that means. I like tech and I was born black. Let me be. Facts, Sean. Shout out to Sean with the 10 ball. Yo, I don't want to be a representation. I don't want to represent what y'all got going on. I don't want to do it. Leave me alone. I'm not black. I'm OJ. Okay. Machine with the 2 ball says, Anton, you will be perfect on the street. As soon as it warm up, I'm hitting the streets. You heard it here first. As soon as it warm up, we hitting the streets. I promise you.
Area
I love
research.
Do you have any goals in the next 3 years that you hope to accomplish?
Yep. In the next 3 years, I want to have a multi-family unit that I purchase for passive income. Yeah.
Stop letting people sell y'all on passive income. Stop letting people sell y'all on passive income. I see you, Q. Appreciate you. I'm going to read you shortly. Stop letting people sell y'all on passive income. They don't know what they're talking about, man. Trust me. And if y'all want me to get y'all the game on that, we could talk about it maybe tomorrow or Wednesday when I get back into the studio.
My goal is passive income.
For
Yeah.
sure. We don't want to worry about that paycheck.
No, I'm done paycheck to paycheck living.
Let me tell y'all something. When I hear somebody say passive income, we're going to end it there. What is this, the 9-minute mark? We'll come back to this the next day. We're going to end it there. When I hear somebody say passive income, that says to me, I'm lazy. I don't want to work anymore. When I hear people say passive income, that means to me, I'm lazy. I don't want to work anymore. I'm tired of working. We not coming to save you. We not coming to marry you. We not coming to retire you. None of that. We not doing none of that. Leave me alone. I ain't got nothing for you. I don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Walk away. I don't have anything for you. Walk away.